All right, guys. Moment of truth. Let's have a look at some of these paints and see how they look. So here are the metallics, up close and personal. Let's see if I can get that to focus. There we go. Nice, reflective. What we're looking for. Eyes, nice, reflective, perfect. I'm very happy that these came out good. So I was more worried about those than anything else. I knew that eventually I'd be able to get something out of the rest of them. But I felt like I would probably have the most trouble with those. The yellow for just the crotch piece, perfect. Came out great. Very happy with it. What I'm actually going to do right here while I'm on camera is I'm going to go ahead and blast this with a little bit of red. So I'm just going to take a drop of this. And again, it's pretty thin already, so you don't need to thin it out anymore. We got a nice, where'd my flat brush go? There it is, nice flat brush. I'm just gonna bump that right up against that V. And because yellow and red work well together, this shouldn't take more than like 2 coats maybe. So we'll just let that one dry for a little bit. But you can see that the little crest looks the way that I want it to. For the most part, there's a small yellow spot right down there, but another coat and that's gone. Okay. As for the actual V-fin, we've got that nice orangey yellow that Gundam is very well known for. Not so like banana, lemony yellow. And the reds, the chest piece, pretty good. The foot, again, nice and shiny and smooth. Very happy with it. There's that forehead crest. Pop that right on there. There we go. We got the heels. The chin piece, which needs a little bit of touch-up paint because there's a little detail in there that's going to be gray. No problem. And the eye mask, or the eyeshadow, as some people call it. All in all, with a little bit of patience, this stuff works fantastically. A lot of my reservations, I guess, have been resolved. We can go ahead and start popping some of this stuff together, just the way it is. So we've got these guys. Oops. Let's go ahead and put a couple drops of super glue on this. Maybe. No, maybe. Yes. What have I done wrong? This is what happens when you don't test things before you shoot them. I think this super glue is actually dried up. Are you serious? It's like just jelly. Yeah, that's no good. To the trash. So, no assembly demo. Sorry, guys. But I can stack it up real quick. Show you what it looks like. Maybe. There we go. Put that on there. There's our head. Put the chin piece on. Nice. So the paints look good. They work. They work pretty good. Some of them need a little bit more TLC than others, but for the most part, you're not going to have too many issues unless you're painting a lot of white or a lot of yellow. I mean, even the yellow behaved pretty well. It just seems like the white and the lighter grays and stuff like that are the problem child. But it all worked. So hopefully you guys check these out. Hopefully Vallejo sees this video and sends me some paint because I love them. Please. And again, big thanks to all the guys that came and hooked it up, helped me out. Francisco, you are the man. And Next Level Painting, I know you have no idea who I am. You probably won't ever see this video, but I love your videos. Keep doing what you do. Until then, or until next time, I'll see you guys later. See ya. Hey guys, it's Justin again with another video. This is going to be, in some ways it's going to be a review, in some ways it's going to be kind of a whip, a little bit. Not really, but sort of. So I started working on this, and I've actually shot this video about 3 different times now. But I wanted to do a video showing off some of these Vallejo Mecha colors. I've bought a ton of them. I really like them for the most part. I've had some hang-ups with them, but for the large majority, I like them a lot. And I don't know if it's just because it's like a new line of paint or if it's because whatever. But I've gone ahead and I've painted a majority of this resin kit using these colors. Definitely not done yet. I got some touch-up work to do. I've got some detail work to do. I've got some other little things here and there to do. But for the most part, we've got, you know, bits and pieces finished. So here's the shield. The 8 needs a little touching up, but I can, you know, I'll get around to that. The chest is partly done, and I've got the little stomach piece right here, and that plugs right into the bottom there. I'm not going to go all the way in with that yet because I don't want to scratch this paint up, but you can see the way the colors play. Kind of going for as close to the standard like stock colors as I could get. I think I did a pretty good job matching up. Here's the backpack. It's done in gray with silver for the thrusters. All of the joints are done in metallic colors. Little grainy looking. It's nice and smooth. It's just the paint is a little grainy looking. So I don't really know what the deal is with that. The deal here is I've shot this video about 3 times already. The first time, everything went great, and then I went to go shoot like a second part to it, and wound up just, you know, wanting to redo the whole thing. So I shot the second one, and it was a nightmare. Everything was a nightmare. So that was partly my fault, partly not so much. I kind of stand by what I said in that video, even though you guys probably won't see it, but I'll get into that. But this is going to be the 3rd take on this, and we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna use my Badger Patriot 105. This is a wider nozzle brush. I think it's a 5 or a 7, something like that. And we're going to paint this entire, well, I say the entire model, but we're going to paint what's left of this model using that airbrush. And we're going to paint the reds and the yellows. So the first initial tests with this was this model. I went and primed this in gray, or no, I primed it in white. Not that that matters. I let it dry for a little bit, and then I thinned out my paint to I think it was 4 drops of paint to 1 drop of thinner, something around those lines. And I could get pretty decent shade lines. I could lay it down as a nice base coat. I got a nice even looking base, no spatter or anything crazy like that. And this is a very tiny model, so I mean, like, to get lines the way that I did on this, I was impressed. So I used that ratio and I moved over to the actual model, and that's where I started to have problems. Was my ratio did not seem to want to work. My blue lines they started out really good, and it just seemed like the longer I was spraying, the more difficult it became to keep that ratio working. And then, you know, I had a ton of other little issues. Spraying white was a nightmare. You can tell this is not my best work here. It seemed like no matter what ratio I used, the paint was either too thin to cover properly or too thick to spray out of the airbrush, and I was getting agitated with it. I'm gonna stick with it because as far as uniformity, it looks fine. It looks the way it's supposed to look. But I won't be painting another model this way. So I'm gonna say straight up, and this is just my opinion, that I don't think these paints, although marketed as airbrush paints, are going to be for people who want to do like a lot of pre-shading. They're going to be I don't think they're going to be for a lot of people that want to do fine detail work and stuff like that without masking. However, I think these paints will, however, work very well for people who want to try modulation and things like that. These paints, again, in my experience so far, if you spray them through a clean airbrush, that was my first issue that I blamed myself for that. I was trying to spray them through an airbrush that I had just been using for a while, and I didn't really deep clean it or anything like that, so I didn't have a 0 to start at. I think that's what some of my issues were, but now I'm spraying it through the wide nozzle airbrush. I'm spraying it at around about between 15 and 20 psi, a little higher than I normally spray, and it comes straight out of the bottle, no thinning. It comes out of the bottle, and you get these results. It's nice, it's smooth, it's clean, it works. When you get down towards the end, you might start seeing a little bit of like orange peely kind of looking stuff because it's going to start to dry in the cup. So if you want to throw a drop of retarder in there to stop that from happening, that might work really well for you. Maybe it won't. Results may vary. But again, I tried thinning this stuff down a little bit. I tried going super low pressure, and I could not get super clean lines. I could not get results that I was looking for. But as a base coating paint, or like if you're gonna blast down some colors on some miniatures and you want to do it real quick, these guys are gonna be great for it. The range of colors is phenomenal. Also, as hand brush paints, these are thinned down a little bit already. Like it says, they're advertised as airbrush paints. They're already thin enough that you don't really have to do a whole lot extra to hand brush them, and they look phenomenal. 1 or 2 light coats, you're set. You're good to go. Some people might not really be into that. I think that's awesome. But as fine detailed paints, they are not. And that, again, that may vary. Some people might not agree with that. But in my personal experience, I have not had any luck with using them as detail paints. So, what we're going to do here is, like I said, I've got the yellows and I have the reds left to paint. That's it. And then I can put this guy together. And I have a couple of like metallics, so we're going to check out the metallic colors. Or well, we're going to check out a metallic color. We're not going to check them all out. We're going to be using the metallic green, which I've hand brushed in the forehead camera here. You can see that's one layer. That's one layer over this base color, and it looks really good. And even under a flat coat, it's still very shiny. So I can say hand brushing it if you want a nice, you know, a nice paint. That's the stuff. If you want to airbrush it, well, we're going to find out. So let me prime this stuff. We'll cut over to the paint station. We're going to check it out. We'll come back, and we'll talk about it. So I'll be right back. Alright guys, so I'm all set as far as like priming everything's concerned. I'm going to start with the orange. We're going to go ahead, I'll show you. I'm loading this straight into the airbrush. There's nothing in here right now at all. It should be totally clean. I'm just going to put like 3 drops, because I don't really have that many pieces. And we're just going to, go to town a little bit. So there you go. It sprays just the way it's supposed to. And what I'm going to do here is, let me take this off the stick. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to real carefully just put that on the ends of these V-fin antennas. And a little bit, just a tiny little bit in the middle. Get it on the back, try and keep it nice and even. Looks good to me. Bring that one down just a tiny bit. Cool. And then one more. And the reason I'm doing this one is because I'm just going to hand brush the red in, because there's just it's way too small to mask. So I'm going to try and just get this top corner here, this top corner. And that's good enough. So while that is drying and setting up and all that, I'm going to switch my color. Gotta clean the airbrush out real quick. Alright, so next we're going to go ahead and we're just going to knock out the metal bits. And these are the only pieces that I've primed black for this. And again, there's not very many of these, so I'm just going to put 3 little drops. Hopefully that's enough. There we go. There's our piece. Let's just go ahead and just looks like I'm struggling a little more to get this one through the brush, but it's not too bad. It's laid on nice and even. There's not really any speckling or anything like that, so that's what I was hoping for. And looks like I need a tiny bit more paint, so let's go ahead and do let's say 2 more drops. Normally this stuff would, you know, last a little longer, but this particular brush just goes through paint. Always has. You can hear it struggling, but that's about what I'm looking for. I'm happy with that. Nice and reflective. So we're going to change the color one more time for the moment. I'm not going to do any pre-shading on these reds. I think I'm going to go ahead and try and do a post-shade. I'm going to try and do as much with this brush as I can. That way I don't run into any more of those issues that I've been having. So our base color for this is going to be Mecha Colors 11 Dark Red. It's very dark. I'm going to load up 10 drops. That should be good. And you know what? Just for the sake of doing it, I'm going to go ahead and drop in 2 drops of Flow Improver. And see if that smoothens things up any. I imagine this was gonna flow through just fine regardless, but oh yeah. Alright, so let's go ahead and lay down our red. Smooth, very dark, very deep. It's darker than we want, which is good for 2 reasons. One, this is going to be our shading layer. 2, that's going to kind of deepen and, you know, kind of dull down that next layer of red we put down on top of it. I'm not really going to go worry about going all over this because I'm going to hand paint that. I think. That Flow Improver is just keeping everything nice and smooth. And, this is kind of what I was hoping would happen the other day with all my mixes and whatnot. But it's still a little I don't know. It feels kind of runny sometimes, but it's working. So I'm not going to complain with the results. And big shout out to my friend Francisco for helping me out. He threw a video up and showed me, you know, just he had no issues getting it to spray. And that's kind of what inspired me to clean my airbrush out and just give it a proper go from 0. And I think that is going to you know, benefit me in the long run. Just kind of rocking it out. So we were just shy of finishing. So let's see if that's enough to paint this chin piece. Good. So the orange should be good enough now that I should be able to get in there and lay down that yellow. And I'm hoping that this yellow doesn't fight me. This is where I'm gonna get a little scared, because spraying yellow is never ever fun, and spraying acrylic yellow is something I've never really done. So I'm expecting the worst here. I think if there's ever going to be a point in this video where I struggle hard, it's going to be this. So let's go ahead and we're going to do see if that is enough. Alright, here we go. Moment of truth. Oh, there we go. What is that? Pretty good coverage. Not any spotting, anything crazy like that going on, which is a huge plus. So let's see if we can cover this. This is going to be the true test. A little bit. You don't have to worry too much about this. Oh yeah, never mind. That's perfect. There we go. You can sort of see the orange stick through a little bit. It's not too bad. It's not too bright. And we're ready to roll with the next color. So let's go ahead and clean the yellow out. I'm very happy with that. I'm insanely happy with that. I don't know what this airbrush cleaner stuff is, but it doesn't really it almost causes the paint to thin out a ton, and it just becomes really watery and doesn't stick to anything. Oops. And then when you spray it, it just kind of bubbles up on the surface, but it's like an ultra glaze version of what it was. Alright, so the hardest of the hard is done. I don't have to worry about any of that. So let's lay down some red. I'm going to thin it just a tiny little bit. And we're going to turn the pressure down some to match. So let's do... a drop of flow improver. Let's mix that up nice and good. Alright, nice bright red. Let's go ahead and start laying that down over this. And that's the problem I started having before. Let's turn this pressure down a little bit. That doesn't look as good as I want it to, so I'm just going to this down over top of this, and that's a little closer to the color I wanted. So like I said, this is not, again, in my experience anyway, something you would do a lot of appreciating with. But if you want to do some modulation, I bet this stuff works wonders. I need to learn how to do modulation so that I can put that to the test. Cool. So now that you've seen how these spray, maybe you can make an educated decision for yourself. Again, this is a wider nozzle brush than a lot of other ones out there. If I try to spray this through my velocity, it is nothing as smooth as that. And in fact, I think I'm going to demonstrate because I have to paint the helmet because that when I painted that last time, it was a disaster. So what I'm going to do is I'll switch my airbrush because I want to try and match the rest of the look of what I've done up to this point. Clean. Okay. And we're going to load it up with Titan Blue. Wonder where that name came from. Alright, so we're going to try and go as light as we can go. And just subtly shade along these edges. See, this is what starts to happen. It starts to come out like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit this down. I'll put a few more drops of blue in here. A little bit of flow improver. Let's see if that alone does the trick. Hopefully it does. There we go. All right, so not the cleanest shade lines, but just going for quick and dirty here. I definitely achieved it. Put my hand on some paint. And that flow improver just changes the game. This stuff just works a million times better with that. So no thinner, just flow improver, and it looks like a charm. Still, again, a little thicker than I would have liked, but for the sake of demonstration, it works. This will give me the results, hopefully, that I'm looking for. And another shout out for that one. This guy has no idea who I am. But if you haven't checked him out, go check out Next Level Painting on YouTube. Tell him, message him, and say that Justinius says hi, and maybe he will notice me. But yeah, so that's my pre-shade lines. We're going to go ahead and blast that with white. That's actually already pretty matted up and dry, so that's what I'm talking about. Go ahead and get some airbrush cleaner going. I need a new piece of paper towel because this one's wet. So there we go. Flow Improver is a game changer here. If you're having trouble with this stuff, just try some of that. If that doesn't work, I don't know what to tell you. So we're going to switch back to the Patriot. Figure out where I stuck it. And our white color on this build is white gray. Go ahead and blast these shade lines out. And we can finally call this thing, well, not done, but oh god. This is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of stuff that happens to me. That is the spottiest white I've ever sprayed. I'm going to spray this down. I'm going to let it dry and hope that it evens out a little bit. Because this looks terrible. This is awful. Oh my god. But yeah, so that's the flow improver. That's the Vallejo airs. Let's go ahead and pop back over to the paint station, have a look at everything, and see what it looks like under the nice webcam, and then we'll wrap this video up.